and take a vagabond.
Hi, I'm Lisa. This is Mark. We're the Vagabond Dreamers. We're standing here on the balcony of our hotel on the Amalfi Coast after we just finished up an entire week in Rome.
Well, going to Rome, of course, has a lot of expectations, all the history, all the glamour, the buildings, the museums, all the things that anybody who goes to Rome did, and we felt we had to do a lot of those things. We did go down and see the Colosseum. We walked on the Appian Way. We went to the Trevi Fountain. We walked on the Spanish Steps. All the things that if you're going to go to Rome, you at least have to do that kind of stuff. And it was all very interesting.
It was, and we even saw some of the scams that we've been warned about. No pickpocketing issues at all, but we did see some other things, and that was kind of interesting.
So we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about the things that you can find in a whole bunch of other videos about Rome. It did definitely fulfill our appetite for looking at ruins and old buildings and those sorts of things. But one day we wandered out to go do something else.
Right, we wanted to find some gardens, and the Tivoli gardens are one of the things that are on many people's bucket list. And we headed out there. We rented a car, and that was an interesting thing too. Rented a car, headed about an hour outside of Rome, found a parking place, and then realized that the Tivoli Gardens on that particular day don't open till 2, so it's about 10:30. Plan B quickly turned into a new garden called Hadrian's Villa. Just 10 minutes away, a new parking spot, a 10-minute walk to see this really incredible, I don't know, you can call it a villa. He calls it a villa. I call it an absolute mansion, gardens, acres and acres of ruins.
300 acres of buildings.
I didn't realize it was 300. It was a lot.
From the emperor, or the Emperor Hadrian's time, he built this entire playground for himself and his nobles and families, out away from the city of Rome. It's a theme that we continue to see. What'd you like about it?
It was well planned as far as inviting people to come and explore the villa. Great walking paths, a lot of information at each stage. You didn't have to go a particular direction, but if you did, you hit every single mark, and that was our plan, was to hit all of the ruins, see all of the things. And I don't know if I have one thing that was, I think I do. They had a pool and they had a fish pond. And I think Hadrian would be blessed with these fish from different areas of the world, perhaps. I don't know how they transported them, and they'd put them in this giant fish pond. Whether they were eaten later, I don't know, but it was pretty incredible. That was, I think, the thing that sticks out the most to me, but it was really, really an enjoyable 2-hour walk for us.
Yeah, they had the Greek theater, they had the baths, the big baths, the little baths, the columns, the palace. I mean, just the library, the hospital, all these things and the tower. Remember, we walked up.
I
to
do,
the tower.
and
that was a really, really fun trip out in the country. And despite the car issues, which we're not going to get into, it was a really fulfilling day.
It was a nice day spent outside of the city proper,
and not real crowded. So probably the gardens would have been a lot more crowded. One of the things that I had to do while I was here was get into St. Peter's, and we finally made it on I made it on our second attempt, because the crowds were insane, which we knew they were going to be, but no idea about how insane.
No.
I have a love-hate relationship with the Catholic Church, and have my whole life. In fact, in the description, there's a link to a blog that I wrote about this. You can check it out. But getting into St. Peter's and seeing the magnificence of all the things that the Catholic Church has collected over the years, the story goes way back to the Reformation and beyond, and just to see I kept thinking to myself, I think this one altarpiece here could probably feed several African countries for a year. It really is. There's so much wealth there.
Such a conundrum.
Yeah.
For me.
So you didn't go, and I think that's part of it.
Right.
but I needed to see the Pietà, and this is a statue I've been fascinated with, Michelangelo's Pietà, that I've been fascinated with since I was a young boy, raised in Catholic school, etc. And I wasn't going to leave Rome without seeing it. So I got up at 5:30 or 6 in the morning and caught, despite the attempts of the buses to leave without me twice, I got on a bus and made it there, and got to see it. And so for me, that was really fulfilling, because that statue is really pretty meaningful in many ways to lots of people in the Catholic Church, whether you're practicing or not practicing. So St. Peter's for me was a really great morning, a time well spent. Earlier in the week, we had gone to the Vatican Museums.
Yeah, well, we tried. Did a lot of trying in Rome before we were successful on all of our attempts. Mark had tickets to get us into the Vatican Museum, 8:30 in the morning. We got down there without a glitch. I think this was the first attempt on the buses. And we got down there, we found the museum, and I was like, wow, there's not a ton of people. There were a lot of people in line, but not as many as I anticipated.
Close, right?
So as we're kind of getting our way to line, we realized there's something up here. Something's not right. So I overheard somebody talking, and I Googled something, and it's the Holy Jubilee See. I'm not Catholic, so I don't know all of these events, but I know year of 2025 is huge for the Catholic Church, especially in Rome. Anyway, the Vatican Museum was not open. So all these people in line who think it's open, like us, were pretty disappointed. Our tickets indicated that they had switched it to the next day. So anyway.
Yeah, it's very weird, because we bought the
Right.
tickets for the Monday,
Yep.
and then when I downloaded them that morning, they were Tuesday.
And we probably had a notice somewhere, but didn't notice it. So
Right.
made it into the museum.
Yeah, and again, this is just a really great collection of art and artifacts going all the way back. The church was collecting these things as a way to legitimize themselves over this period of time. A lot of really amazing things if you're into art, and I enjoy, because I taught it, that wanted to see some of these things. And we wanted to get to the Sistine Chapel, which was more fun for you than for me. I have fused vertebrae in my neck.
Right.
You can't actually look up.
Kept saying, look up, Mark. Oh, sorry. he can't look
So-
up. He would have had to have laid down.
Right, and I think the security pretty much frowns on that. But in my haste to get to the Sistine Chapel, I walked right by the single one painting in the whole Vatican Museums I wanted to see, and that was the School of Athens. When we teach European history, we use that as the preeminent painting of the Renaissance, and I didn't see it. I walked right by the door. Anyway, this is part of the things that I led me to believe that Rome really didn't like me very much. So because of that, but the museums were really, really interesting. Lots and lots and lots of things. It's overwhelming in so many ways.
Yeah, so overwhelming.
Yeah. One museum that we did find, and
Still overwhelming, but in a different way.
oh, very much so. There is a museum that was built in the prison that the Gestapo used to use to house the Italian resistance, and it's just in a small building.
Really nondescript.
Right, but inside they preserved the cells. They preserved the graffiti that the prisoners wrote on the walls, and there were British. In addition, anybody who was caught was put there. Most of them, of course, were eventually executed. But it is sobering in every possible way to talk about it. And the piece of bread that he wrote his last words
said goodbye
to
his mother.
Carved into a piece of bread they have there. But I think the most alarming stuff was the room with the German propaganda and notices to the Italian people. And again, we try not to get too political in these videos. Outside the videos, kind of political. But I'm telling you, the messages...
It was almost exactly the same message that we opened up and saw on Facebook not 3 hours later.
Yeah.
And it's disturbing.
It is disturbing, and it was driving it home here. And again, beyond that, the pictures,
Yeah.
the messages from
Yeah.
the people that were there, the heroism of these people to resist and fight the Nazis is inspirational as well as sobering. And so I'm really glad we made that trip. It wasn't all history and it wasn't all depressing things.
No, because right around the corner was pickleball. So again, our addiction to pickleball, or at least our obsession. We have our paddles, so we have to use them if we're going to lug them around from country to country. So Mark was able to find a pickleball group. Eugenio and Marco were the two people that kind of stuck out for us. Eugenio helped organize. I guess he's the best pickleball player in Rome. That's the word on the streets of Rome. And Marco was just so helpful at the reception desk, getting us acclimated to where we're supposed to go. I even ended up with a shirt. Thank you, Marco. And what's really interesting, not only was pickleball fun as it is, and people were social and inviting and helpful, and a lot of slamming. There was a lot of slamming that night. But also, you would never know that this gym was in this building. So it's a building just like every other building, with nothing to script on it. You walk in, there's a huge indoor lap pool, there's outdoor pickleball courts, there's indoor gym, indoor pickleball courts, there was Zumba going on. This massive recreational program
Just behind this one little door.
One little door. You would never ever know it. So then I started thinking about what is all behind these brick cement walls, because it was pretty cool, and pickleball was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and having Eugenio and Marco be so receptive and so helpful, and it was really a lot of fun, and we're finding that the pickleball community, no matter what country, really treats you well. So reflecting back on the whole trip to Rome, there were bumps, that's for sure. Those of you my students who know, I'm a huge Caravaggio fan.
Oh, this was so sad.
And I bought tickets to the National Museum that had several Caravaggios. So we show up on time, and the guy looks at the ticket. He goes, "Oh, yeah, that's
get in here.
That's for you can't get in here because they had
that was all Caravaggio.
They started this huge Caravaggio exhibit, but my tickets weren't for that. And now, in fairness, when I bought these tickets, there wasn't a Caravaggio exhibition. And to make matters worse, they took all the Caravaggios out of the National Museum and put them in.
They just scooted them next door.
And no one let us in. And I was like, okay, Rome really does not like me. The School of Athens, the Caravaggios.
The Vatican
Now, in
Museum.
fairness, I was determined, and I had a list of other Caravaggios, and I found the two in the church.
In the church.
That you had to actually pay €2 for to turn the lights on to see the Caravaggios. I mean, everybody's got to make a buck. But those were great, and I really enjoyed them. So I made up for it. And then again, just to return to finally being able to see the Pietà on our last day in Rome, really sort of brought it all home for me. And in addition to those sort of bumps in the road, you had a bump.
Yeah, I mean, Mark had what we think was COVID the whole week of our Austria Alps trip. And I was getting sick on that Tuesday, so very early on in that week, but I refused to give up any of my hikes. Well, by the time we got to Rome, I had laryngitis. I couldn't talk for 2 days, and I was a mess. Really didn't feel well. So though Mark had expectations of Rome, this was a country, this was a city I didn't have expectations of, other than I knew it was a big, bustling city. So that was good for me, because I think that me not feeling well and the bumps that we had would have diminished that, and it was fine. It was fine, except I didn't feel well, and that was a struggle. I'm just now on the upside of 2 weeks not feeling well.
Yeah. So we always ask, could we live here? A couple of things that were really positive. The Pamphili Park, which is the big park. We spent some time there with the turtles and crazy.
So many turtles.
Turtles and the geese. It was really cool. We didn't even get to the great part of the park, but it was really nice. And we had some great food experiences.
One great food experience.
All right, fair enough.
Okay.
The food wasn't all that great, except at that restaurant, which was really awesome.
Fabulous.
And the chef threw down the gauntlet when one of my friends back home said he was going to get the recipe and make this food because I was raving about it, and the chef had words for Dan.
Then
Dan Adams.
Dan Adams,
You will never make food as good as this.
you never make food like this.
And in the end, Rome is not a place we would ever go to. It's too big of a city for us, and it has all the big city problems. But more than any other place we have been, the trash
and the graffiti
everywhere, the graffiti everywhere.
I enjoy some graffiti, and I think you
Some.
like some. Mark just not.
I'm not a fan of every single building being defaced. And people just dump trash everywhere.
They
And
do.
even the places where they're supposed to dump trash, I don't think they empty it very often because
Right.
it's stuck so
Yeah.
bad every corner. So, Rome was not, in that regard,
It
not
has its plights of big city issues.
Yeah, sure.
You know.
And we had some homeless issues, and again, we're very sympathetic, and we often give money. It's just when you're trying to negotiate and around the city and stuff, it's really heartbreaking more than anything
Yeah.
else. That this is such a big problem in Rome, and again, like every other city, not in Vienna.
No.
Still the best.
Transportation in Rome worked out
was
pretty
pretty good.
easy, all
pretty
things
good.
considered.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
So again, lots of great things. Some things that weren't so great. A bunch of challenges, more than any other
Yeah.
city at
Yeah.
one time. And we got to see and do most of the things we want to do. So
That was Rome.
that was Rome. Well, this is our last day in Rome, and it's been a mixed bag of things. Some spectacular things and some real challenges. There's a time when I thought Rome didn't like me very much, but in the end, it was as spectacular a place as we were promised. We're leaving here in the morning for the Amalfi Coast, something we've been really excited to get to. Apparently they have the best lemons in the world,
They do, and the path of the gods.
and the Path of the Gods. And we'll be heading there in the morning, and looking very, very much forward to it.
I'm Lisa. This is Mark, and we're the Vagabond Dreamers.
And take a vagabond dream of a vagabond fool. I ain't too proud to beg, but I'm playing it cool. I can do the time, I can do the walk when I'm walking with